Big day for a couple of Washington's rookies in a very efficient draft class that we've seen through 6 days of camp. We are now 7 days through of camp. Washington has the pads on again. Javon Kinlaw sighting and the Jaden Daniels to Zach Ertz connection in the red zone is still looking as magical as it did last year. Let's talk about training. What's going on, Washington Commanders Nation? It's your boy Rio Robinson, back with the latest and greatest from the Rambling with Rio YouTube channel, where we ramble about our Washington Commanders. It is the final day of July. We have made it to August, ladies and gentlemen. The NFL is making its triumphant return today, and the Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and the Lions will be taking place later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're getting Trey Lance versus Hendon Hooker on a national scale. It's going to be an awful football game that I'm going to enjoy so much. I will be seated for it. The Commanders had a rest day and are back in pads today. It's a little less disgustingly hot outside. You know, the heat still exists. That's why the team has called up all practices at this point to be at 8 o'clock. They've moved up the entire schedule of camp so far. So do not be surprised when all the camp tickets say 8 o'clock right now. Today's main takeaways from practice per Skylar Nelson of The Beat. Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz connection was really good. They had back-to-back touchdowns to start team drill in red zone. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt has been showing strong first-team running back potential. This is not just fan rhetoric. This is not just Rio pushing an agenda. There is a lot of propaganda that I will buy into when it's being told to me by the media, because I'm believing what my eyes told me out there on Sunday and what the tea leaves have been since we drafted these guys. And from what I've seen thus far, Washington's draft class is looking like a very efficient 5 picks so far. Josh Connerly, the plan is like we were slow playing and slow roasting the chicken with Brandon Coleman and company last year. He's going to be your starting right tackle, but they're not forcing him into the role immediately. I believe they're doing the same thing with Jaylen Lane. Jaylen Lane has flashed almost every day in training camp so far. They're having him run with the ones, they're having him runs with the twos, they're having him run with the threes. He's catching passes from all 3 quarterbacks. And you know what he's doing with those passes from all 3 quarterbacks? He's separating, he's making the catches, and he's making plays. Per Ethan Cadeau, who was out there today. Big day for rookie Jaylen Lane at Commanders camp. Caught 2 touchdowns from Sam Hartman during team drills. Caught another one from Jaden Daniels later in the practice. One was for 60-plus yards down the left sideline. The other one was down the seam in red zone work. I'm telling you, Jaylen Lane, it's going to be very hard for them to not start him in that slot receiver spot. I think the plan is to give old Luke the first crack at it, but speed kills, ladies and gentlemen. And to be on the smaller side of being a wide receiver, Jaylen Lane has a very compact build. He has an NFL-ready build. He is so fast, bro. When we were out there watching them at practice, Jaylen Lane almost looks so fast he's not able to control it. Yeah, Jaylen was like, his speed looks like it's too much for his body at time, and his arms and legs are trying to get in sync still. He's fast as shit. That's the fastest player I've seen at Commanders camp since Brandon Banks. He's going for 60-yarders down the sideline. He's catching touchdowns from Jaden, Josh Johnson, and Sam Hartman. I know the plan for him is to also take it easy. They're not trying to force too much on the plate of these rookies from day one. But Jaylen Lane, he is 100% going to be the starting punt returner for the team this year. And whether he starts or not in the slot, he's going to get targets, and Jaden's going to look for him. Y'all remember the breakout play from Back Together Day when I was at camp, the touchdown over those 2 guys at the end? He's been building on that ever since. And early and often, you hear the name Jaylen Lane at Washington Commanders camp, and I love it. I am here for it. The propaganda for Jaylen Lane and Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt is real. And speaking of Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, gosh, man, I'm smitten with the idea and the thought. I'm willing to get past these conversations of prefacing everything, every bit of glaze about JCM with the words, I mean, I know he's a seventh. I'm done doing it. I'm done doing it. I'm looking at Grant Paulson's tweet. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt just had a beautiful stretch run. Super patient behind pullers, exploded into the lane, jump cut into space. Nice game. Debo Samuel and Luke McCaffrey both sprinted over to dap him up after. Just seeing in succession a Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt big play, followed up with a Jaylen Lane just got loose in the secondary for a long catch. He has made plays consistently throughout camp. Just seeing those in succession, that does something for me, man. This shit means something for me because we only have 5 picks in the 2025 NFL draft. So Adam Peters had to be on peak efficiency time. Peak efficiency. And Josh Connerly, we're going to find out more about him in the joint practices and in preseason, but I think that's going to be your day one starter at right tackle. It's very hard in the trenches to determine early on just how good a lineman looks, but TBD. Trey Amos is a fucking baller. He has started from day one. None of that work him in developmental grace period shit with him. He's the guy opposite Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore was not out there with the team today, so Trey Amos is getting all the work with Mikey Sanders still and Lattimore with the secondary. Jaylen Lane, Hooper, and special teams ace. Kane Madrano, fastest linebacker we've had in the building in quite some time. He's making plays. He's knocking down passes. He's finding the football. The main objective for the defense going forward is to find a way to turn it over. In year 2 and 3, Dan Quinn and Joe Witt in Dallas, they had them boys snatching the football at an all-time rate. And Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt, as you can see in this video, CrossFit ass Austin Eckler, word to Jalen Morgan. He said, look at CrossFit Mighty Mouse Eckler, the only one getting over the pads. B-Rob didn't stand a chance, but we didn't think he did. Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt fits like a glove in this running back unit. He's not only making the roster, he will be getting carries in 2025. And he has the body movement, the fluidity, the decisiveness, and the athletic profile of a guy that can start in this league. We watched Alfred Morris with less traits run for 1,600 yards as a rookie. We're allowed to be excited about Ja'Cory Crosky-Merritt. And per Jaden Daniels, we call him Bill. Y'all could call him Bill. We call him Bill. What am I allowed to just address JCM as Bill going forward, and y'all know who I'm talking about? Or should we just keep up with JCM because it keeps things easier on the channel? Let me know. Skylar Nelson also says the O-line seems strong on paper, but the D-line is winning the battle very early in camp. Still early. Noah Igbenogany and Quan Martin are emerging as defensive threats. Noah Igbenogany must have seen my tweets and heard me saying that he needs to stop stealing single-digit numbers because he's consistently flashed in camp this year, and he pretty much letting Jonathan Jones know shit ain't sweet over here for that first corner on the field after the original group of Amos, Saint Still, and Lattimore. He's still trying to keep his name in the mix here, bro. It's very easy to forget, but Noah Igbenogany was once a first-round pick by the Miami Dolphins. Ertz back-to-back touchdowns to start red zone work and team drill. Jaden is sharp per usual. What I do not want people to do is think because the defense is playing very well early in training camp that Jaden has not been sharp. There are a whole lot of reps that happen in practice, and there are individuals, there are one-on-ones, there are 7-on-7s, there are 11s, there are situation drills, there are goal line, there are no huddle, there are 2-minute drill, there are full team 11s. Jaden Daniels has been consistently accurate throughout camp. I know some people would like to lie to themselves and say, "Oh, the defense is balling. Jaden is sophomore slumping in practice." That's not the case. That's not. He's dotting motherfuckers up every day. Guys are dropping passes, and defenses are breaking on balls and shit like that, which we want to hear. But just in case anyone forgot, our quarterback is everything as advertised and has been hooping throughout training camp so far. My boo, Kay Adams, aka Bay Adams, love that little ass woman. She's at practice today. She will be interviewing Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, and company. Terry McLaurin and Buddy Baker are doing their post-practice thing again. Our owner, Josh Harris, is at practice watching 11 on 11s with Adam Peters. He's signing Josh Harris is signing autographs and shit. I don't imagine too many people want to talk to Adam Peters right now, even though he's doing his job correctly and holding the team down. But GM Will Dawkins and the Pelicans GM were at practice today. It's a family affair, and the stars come out when Washington comes to practice. Every day, it feels like there's a new celebrity in the building, but today seemed like a more intimate setting out in Ashburn. Like I said, we're drawing closer and closer to these New England joint practices. As nauseating as some of these training camp updates could be because we don't get the full picture if we weren't there, we're going to get a ton of actual news and analysis next week because we get to go full pads live team versus another team, a team that doesn't know our offense, a team that hasn't seen the other side of the ball since the spring and kind of know what's coming. That's why, in a way, we have to relax on some of the takes that we have when we're talking about training camp because it's all in the family. The offense has an idea what the defense is running. The defense has an idea what the offense is running. So it's like both units are coming into it with a cheat sheet. The New England Patriots joint practices / preseason game, I don't know who's playing in it, but them joint practices are going to give us an early tale of the tape on some of these rookies that are flashing, on some of these undrafted free agents who are trying to make a name for themselves, like a Ja'Cory Brooks. Speaking of undrafted free agents, one of our priority UDFAs, Tim McKay, that big lineman that we took out of NC State, he has now been activated off the PUP, and his ramp-up period has began for him to get back on the field. We signed Lucas Niang, former Kansas City Chief and former teammate of Nick Allegretti and Andrew Wiley. We added him to the group as well. That was a corresponding signing to the Nate Herbig surprise retirement. We didn't touch on that too much on the channel because I did not feel the need to touch on that too much on the channel. But that's pretty much, for the most part, a good read on what took place today. Marshawn Lattimore, Ben Sinnott, and Noah Brown were not present today at practice for whatever reason, maybe vet rest days, maybe nursing something slight. As I was going to say something, I'm not going to say it because we're going to keep the vibes continuing as they were in practice. I do see in camps elsewhere in other cities, the I bug is going around. You know what that I word is? I don't even need to say it, so we can put that in the existence over here. As far as punt returners, Jaylen Lane, Casimir Allen, KJ Osborne, and Demetric Felton are the one catching punt so far. And Josh Connerly has been working extensively and having a lot of conversation between things with Laramie Tunzel. Laramie Tunzel seems like a good teammate per DC Sports Dre on Twitter. For all the people that said he was a bad teammate and was very non-committal and non-communicative over in Houston, maybe he just didn't like those guys over there. Maybe he just did not fool with them fellas out in H-Town, and maybe he just feels right at home in this family-like environment here in DC. But that is your 7th day. We're seeing running backs jumping over pads. Bill is flashing and starting to work his way into more reps with Jaden Daniels. Jaylen Lane is fast as hell. It resonates. He separates and his hands work on a consistent basis. He's going to be very hard to keep off the football field. Amos still being Amos. Jaden Daniels to Ertz. Jaden Daniels to whoever. The boy is accurate. He shows up on a consistent basis, and there is nothing to worry about despite the defense flashing on a consistent daily basis. Javon Kinlaw is starting to wreck plays, and that guy's massive, man. I can't even mention Javon Kinlaw without talking about how much mammoth of a man that he is. And I think there's a reason that Adam Peters entrusted him with $15 million per year over 3 years. And I think we're going to see it, and we're going to see it very early on. The priority of this offseason was to never be as bad against the run ever again. And I think we're going to see that. Joint practices next week. I would like to hear the names Ben Sinnott, Luke McCaffrey, and Johnny Newton a lot. Those three, I will be paying close attention to them in the preseason and in joint practices. Let me know the players you are most anticipating hearing updates from joint practice and Washington's preseason opener. A preseason opener that is now 8 days away. We will be seeing the Washington Commanders in game uniforms in its first game action a week and a day away from now at Gillette Stadium out in Foxborough versus the New England Patriots. We're getting Jaden Daniels versus Drake May practice updates. It's going down. It's going to be lit. I want to outclass them boys. It's not looking like we're going to have 17 done by that time. And speaking of 17, per Diana Rossini, former Washington Redskins beat ESPN anchor and of The Athletic, she says multiple teams have reached out to Washington about a trade for Terry McLaurin, and Washington's not answering that call. We're not fucking trading Terry McLaurin. As much as you can try to side with either side between Adam Peters and Terry McLaurin, the ultimate answer is there's no better destination that's going to overpay Terry, and there is no better receiver you're going to find as your number one in August of 2025. We need Terry. Terry needs him. Point blank, period. Get the job done. Terry, when you get this shit over with, man, have a conversation, a handshake, invite Buddy Baker to dinner, and be done with that. And Buddy Baker needs to stop fucking showing up to practice, by the way. That shit is weird. That shit is Bush League, and it brings the vibes down a little bit, man. But shout out to Terry for still being out there, still hollering at and embracing the fan base. And that's all I got for right now. Day 7 of training camp in pads. If anything else comes out, you will hear my loud mouth as blabbing, rambling, and bloviating about. We get football tonight. I'm not going to do a watch party for the Chargers Lions game like I kind of promised earlier in the week. It's not time for that. We got to open up our watch party season next week when the Patriots and Washington Commanders meet on Friday night in some preseason action. But make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I have a goal right now to hit 20,000 subscribers on the channel before the start of the regular season. So we got a month and some change. The first game is a month and a week and a few days away. I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe. The engagement helps the channel get reached out to on a wider basis. And if you haven't heard me yapping about this yet, I need y'all to pull up to the Commanders Kings live event coming up on August 24th. Did y'all watch Commanders Kings last night? Did y'all see drunk ass Louis T just rambling about and not knowing what the hell? Super inebriated on stream. Now just imagine on August 24th when me, Ed Oliver, Rico from Street Scores, and Louis T congregate and unite for the first time on a stage with you guys present, feeding us energy and questions while we're there. Let's have a drink. I don't even drink. I will have a drink with y'all that night. I'm not a drinking person. I haven't had a drink in like 10 months because alcohol really doesn't do it for me. But we're going to fellowship and Washington Redskins football team Commander Pride. We're going to do a season preview, and we're going to predict Washington's record. These are going to be the best predictions you're going to find, and we're going to put a roster together. August 24th, Crystal City Sports Pub. Make sure I put emphasis on sports pub and not restaurant. It's not Crystal City Restaurant or Gentlemen's Club. We will be out there having ourselves a ball. 5:45 is the start time. $45 tickets. We've already sold about half of them. 150 will be on sale. 150 are no longer available. I will drop the link below in the chat. Cop your tickets, cop tickets for a friend. And if you can't go, there's a link in there where you can just donate to the party. That is all I got for real this time. I done signed off 2 times unsuccessfully. It's time to get the fuck out of here and enjoy my Thursday afternoon and hit this gym. God bless all of you. I appreciate y'all for watching the channel. Until next time, Commander Rio is out.